Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. Today I'm going to go a step further and decorate some of the ephemera that I created using fabric. Now, I don't believe that I've shown any of this in the past video on using fabric and using scraps and so on. However, I was at the end of my rope. Like, I have this really cute, this is metal. It's, someone must have, I don't know, soldered all of these keys, bent these keys, painted them my favorite metal color, which is copper. And I bought this, well, I guess it doesn't matter where I bought it. But anyway, it has been sitting on my desk, and it's been a repository for all kinds of, don't know where to put it, just throw it in there. So I went through it this morning and sort of put the fabric and these kind of things on one pile. I separated, like I had these kinds of cords and strings and whatnot. I will rewrap this onto a tongue depressor or a large craft, a large craft stick. I have some of these little, well, that's a label, but these little head and, are they called head? Yeah, headbands from books that have been taken apart. This is part of, well, that and a little bit more book guts. Don't know what this is. I have the fibers sort of grouped over, ribbon and so on, grouped over to the side here. And look at what else I had in there. Like, really, I could make a couple of bird's nests with this. So I did, number one, that sorting to save some time, and also to kind of limit myself to what is here. So whether or not these pieces get fully, ready to use, decorated or not, I guess will depend on whether the right color of scrap exists. But it will help empty this or reduce what's in here. And it will, was there overflow into another? I have another container there too. Oh, more. Ay. Anyway, I guess one thing at a time. So let me show you, first of all, what I've done here. So this, these are game cards from a game called Don't Quote Me. And I had that game probably for 25 years and never played it a single time. I guess it's time to recognize that we are not a board game playing family, particularly if it's something esoteric like about books and quotes and so on. So I sometimes include these pentagon-shaped things in Happy Mail, or I just have to use them. Now, they are a challenge. You might be able to determine that these pieces are 3 of the 4 corners on a vintage hanky. Really cute, but again, how does it help anyone if I don't use them? So these two, I kind of, that's the positioning there. This one will be sort of upside down, maybe as a top tuck or something. I haven't done anything with the backs and probably won't, because if they're glued down as tuck spots or pockets, then obviously that would be a waste of time and effort. So I have those 3 to do something with. I've also, and I have no idea where I got this fabric from. It might have been an apron that I took apart, because I also have a couple of cute little pockets. So in the case of these 4, and this one will be horizontal, all the work has been done here. There's script, there's florals, there's stamped type images. So it needs very little. These are all have been backed on cardstock, I guess. And, you know, if there's a little frayed edge, that's so much the better. And I've sewn around. Oh, I glued them down using Yoo-Hoo glue stick, and then I sewed around them. So I'm not sure that I'll have the right thing to decorate these guys. I do have something in mind. Yes, in mind for these two pocket type things. And I'm using this bias tape edge on it, which was already there, to, you know, it seemed to make sense to turn these into pockets. So there's that. I also have two of these. I think you might have seen this in a previous video. This one I zigzagged around. This one has not been sewn around later. I might have something to put on those. And then there was also this. I'm not sure you can tell, but there's a stitching line there. This, if I'm not mistaken, came off a really big bib apron. And I salvaged a lot of the different embroidered elements, but because of the construction of the apron with, you know, different gourd sections and so on, it has been a bit challenging to use. Anyway, let us begin. I pre-selected a couple of things. I had these that, I don't remember what I cut it off, but clearly that would pick up the blue. So I thought that all I would do in this case, I should lay this down. I thought that what I would do in this case is just, I have two pieces. Maybe this one needs less shaving off, so I'll use this one. I just thought that I would glue this down for an extra splash of color. Again, is that enough? Maybe not. I do have enough to go around all four edges, but then I think that that would be kind of asking for trouble because, mind you, or would it? I was going to say I could do butt joints as opposed to trying to miter them. Yeah, maybe I should do that because otherwise I'll probably still be left with some oddball thing. Let's see how well that works. So I think it'll be simpler to put the glue on here. I will extend it past each end so that I can do a nice, clean, sharp cut. So I hope you guys are well. It's Saturday afternoon, early afternoon when I'm doing this. I haven't been feeling the greatest lately. I noticed I had swollen glands at the, you know how when you were a kid and every time you sort of got slightly sick in any way, your mother would feel right below your, like at the corner of your, you can't see what I'm doing, but at the corner of your, right below the back edge of your jawbone, where your jawbone bends. And yeah, my glands are swollen, kind of a snotty nose, headache, went to bed with a headache, woke up with a headache, and I don't know, just not feeling up to par, but I thought I'd make a nice clean cut here. I just thought that I do need to, you know, keep making videos. I do need to keep plowing through the jobs that I've set for myself. Oh, you know what? Well, it doesn't matter. I have enough to do all four sides. So I'm doing like a butt joint. So like if this was woodwork and you were cutting 4 pieces of wood, you're basically just butting the cut edges up to each other. You're not mitering and getting that 90-degree angle. So whether you're crafting or woodworking, there's something for everyone. Yay. Yeah, so, and it is going to feel so good. And what I might do after the fact is just touch these cut edges. Not that this is going to fray, but cut the, do a dab of probably art glitter glue because it's thinner at the edge there, just to prevent, sort of seal it in. Maybe I should be using this end because it seems like there's fewer stray threads there. It's almost time to fill up my Fabri-Tac bottle again. You know, when it gets too low down in this Sugar Bell bottle, you spend a lot of your day waiting for glue to start flowing. So this, you can see, I mean, I'm not done yet, but you can see that this, by boxing or doing all the edges, it's made this far more dramatic than when I just had the little blue strip at the top. And again, there, you know, is this the best thing I could have done here? Yeah, probably not. But sometimes you just want something quick and dirty. You want to get rid of something that has been sitting around far too long. And you can see that I just did that on an index card. Oh, this one had to be more precise. Probably should have figured that out before I put the glue down. Oh, what am I doing? I'm putting the finished edge all around, so I better do that here too. So this goes this way. And then I'll just, whoops, now I've got glue everywhere. I will just try my best to cut that as close as I can. We don't want it short because it'll show. We don't want it too long because it'll be a bump. I'll just ease it in there. Ease it in there. Okay. And look, I have this one. Of course I do. Okay, so we're going to call this one done for the time being. Oh, another thing, I was putting it last night. I didn't feel like doing too much, so I was fussy cutting as I was watching something on Netflix. And anyway, I was just putting those images away. I kind of don't like that this is, let's see if I can fix that. I might have to disguise that in some other way. We have a solution. Oh, look at that, how it's gobbed up there. I don't know why that happens every so often to art glitter glue. Also can't seem to aim into the hole. Anyway, I was doing this fussy cutting out of 2 photography magazines, so I was putting the pieces away in a pouch, otherwise, you know, they just get lost. You know what, I have kind of a white space here. Maybe I should just, would it be very bulky if I just made a shoelace bow here? And I just ran, you know, took a second to look at some of the other pouches, because of course, if you don't, you can put things away in pouches or files or boxes or bins, but if you never look at them, you can still forget what you have. So I was kind of shocked to see that I had this pouch called Labels and Book Plates. Obviously, some of these are digitals, or probably most of them are digitals. So I just brought that out thinking, well, who knows, maybe sometimes what these things need. Boy, there's hardly enough here to do this. But it would be the end. It's very thick too. Don't know if I can actually, well, maybe. that would be the end of this, though. Isn't that worth making a little lumpy, bumpy part for your journal, just to know that you have used up the last of it? I'm trying to make that as tight as I can and somewhat, oopsie, I'm all tangled up here, somewhat neat edges. I think I might have to inject a wee bit of glue inside there, and maybe there, and there. I don't want this undoing. And then I'll use the Fabri-Tac, because this is kind of bulky. That will dry clear to hold this baby down in the corner. And maybe I'll use quite a big blob. And I will put it, I won't put it on the top edge of, boy, that's sloppy. I won't put it on this trim edge, but on the flatter part, because we don't need to raise this bow up any more than it already is. And I think you know, unless you're new to Fabri-Tac, what is the other name for it? What I have access to in Canada is Fabri-Tac. I think in some countries it's called 3-in-1. It's all Beacon brand anyway. If you find Beacon glue, you're essentially buying the same thing. What was I saying about that? Oh yeah, when you use this glue, if you sort of rub it off, or in my case here, I was picking it off before it dries, then it rolls off quite nicely. Okay, that is fine for now. Am I going to need this again? Probably not. I'll let that stand up. Okay, I have this that obviously has some script on it. It's very sheer, but I thought that might be kind of cute. Where was I planning? Oh, I think I was planning to put that on these pockets. I know what I was going to do. I was going to cut it in half, because, you know, we don't want any leftovers. I'm going to basically cut it in half, keep everything fair and square. And then I was going to just sort of, okay, which is the right side? This is the right side. Basically do a bit of gathery thing. You know what? I should use this, because our glitter glue sometimes, because it's so much finer feed, let's say, out of the bottle, I'd have to end up holding it too long, or using half a dozen clips to hold it. So I think I will maybe put it on the green part. Maybe I'll do two sort of beads of glue here. And hopefully that will be enough. Because, I mean, this is so sheer, it shouldn't take much at all to grab. So I'm essentially just securing it in, well, at the end, and then just sort of gathering and scrunching. And because it is so sheer, I probably needed to put glue a little further than I did. It's yeah, it's going a little further than I thought it would. And of course, when you do this, you have the opportunity to sort of, go a little, depends how much, excuse me, depends how much texture you want to create. You could do it very neatly and it would be almost precision, like some fabric ruffles that you've sewn on the sewing machine or sewn by hand with a needle and thread. Or you can make it more messy looking, and that way you have sort of that undulation of this. And, whether or not, I don't know if you can see those threads that are sticking out. I might cut these top ones a bit because they might interfere with the pocket, but I think that looks kind of cool. And of course, something more could be added here. Now, do I have anything at the ready to add? I have some of this jute, but that doesn't seem to fit. I could, but I won't have anything to add to it. I could pull out some of these pinky threads. That's too much. I could add that. I still have, it's still not adding a great deal of bulk. And maybe I would stop there, not knowing, well, number one, not having anything within reach, but I could definitely add a button, a paper punch out, a little mini digital, some, what do you call those? Those glittery little bits, like gemstones, sort of. A pearl strand. I don't think I have any pearls right here. So again, something that would fit with where you intend to use it. Do have some fabric pieces off to the side here, but nothing that would really go. Although maybe we'll leave that and use it on the next one. Okay, so I'm leaving this one as is. Where did I put the other piece that was done? Oh, over here. I'll bring those back in at the end to show you. Okay, so I have this. Again, I'm doing the gathering. Oh, maybe I should go this way this time. Not cover up the postmark, since that's one of the more interesting pieces on here. Have you noticed how, depending on whichever is your dominant hand, that's the way you tend to glue stuff down? Or the side of the, excuse me, the signature page that you choose to put certain elements on. It just seems, maybe I should do this a little tighter here. It seems to hand, if there's such an expression. Let's pull this a bit. And this is why Fabri-Tac was a better choice of glue here than art glitter glue would have been. Maybe I'll just put a little smidgeruno there to hold this thing down somewhat. And again, I've done that quite messily. Do I want this or do I want something else? I suppose if I did two the same, I could look for something darker here. I do also have, this is a little bit of cheesecloth, so maybe let's on this one, let's use some cheesecloth. And you can see, there's nothing that's too small to be saved. Ugh. And if in hindsight, when the final, use is happening, this is a pretty white background. Now, if I think to myself, oh, that's so white, and some of this looks kind of grungy and so on, there's nothing to say that I can't use kind of a dry blending brush and, just sort of dirty up, stain the white a bit so it looks more like this all belongs together. Now, I also have these, I thought I had another one here. These things, they look a bit too not, they don't look like they really fit on this project. So hopefully I do get to use them somewhere else, because I wish I had a nickel for every time I've handled these things and moved them. Thinking, oh, I've got to save it for something very, very, very special. Could also do that there. And do you see how limiting your choices oh, that's not good there. Maybe on this one I could tuck it underneath there. Lay this down again. I could maybe have it over here and then not really cover up, because there isn't that much pink on this particular one. So maybe I'll stick this underneath the... And of course, it would have been good to think of this before I glued it down, but hey, you can't have everything. I wonder what this is. Is it adhesive, perchance? I think I threw it in some coffee mixture. I'm just trying to see if I can poke. This could be an iron-on thing. It's got a bit of a shine to it, and it's probably adhesive so we'll leave that for another day. Okay, let's glue this baby down. Again, I'm using Fabri-Tac because I think, this is kind of thick. It's kind of got a bit of a curve to it because it's, it came out of some kind of an old thing. Maybe had been there for decades. Again, you can't tell that it was a headband, but unless you lift up this petticoat and look. Okay, maybe I should put a little Clamperuno on that. Does this work? Not far enough. We'll take a look at this at the end. Okay, keep going. Now I had this, and maybe I'll put it on this one that has been stitched around already. I thought this could be like a tab. It seems to me I salvaged this from a watch band. I don't know where the rest of it is, but I could also, because the back looks fine, and it's not going to fray, I could also put it lower down. In fact, maybe that's what I should do, because I think this is already 8.5, so we don't want to, if it's a normal journal, we don't want, just wondering if that mark is going to come off, but I guess if it doesn't, it doesn't. So I could do that, but is that enough? I have this gold scrap of ribbon here, which would work if I use the back side, because I don't know that Let's Party is exactly the message we want here. Oh, look, I could do that. Okay. That's the plan, baby. Do I have enough here? If I cut this in half, I could make like a double thing. Do you know what I mean? Are you a mind reader? Like a double belly band type thing. So maybe what I'll do, so we get optimum holding power, is I'll just randomly glue the first one down. Again, I'll probably use this. And then butt the second one up to it or very close to it so that it doesn't look as though, or so I'm not wasting a whole bunch of time, you know, trying to, oh, look at, that's not good. Maybe art glitter glue would be better. You know what, I have enough surplus. Let's get that off there. Let's just test on here and see if that's going to, is that going to show as well? Maybe we'll do that. Yeah, that's staining it as well. So I think what's going to happen here is there will have to be something glued on there to, and maybe I might as well, I wonder what's with this glue. It normally doesn't come out in such thin. This end is going to be less of a concern because that's where I'll put that little faux leather. This bottom is going to need some TLC though. So, ooh, I didn't, how come this seems like, didn't I? Okay, clearly I need some clamps here. I wonder where my, I wanted these things, but how come I can't find the rest of them? Did me misplace something? Don't say it isn't so. Could use this, but it's not. It's a little more pain in the buttish. That is a technical term, pain in the buttish. That's butt, B-U-T-T hyphen ish. It seems like art glitter glue is not grabbing. Okay, let's cover. Oh, the heck. This is when I fish something out of my garbage can to wipe it up with. And I don't know if it's because I haven't used it for a few days or what. Is it that temperamental, or is it a, I think some people sometimes say it's an atmospheric, like a weather phenomenon. I don't know if that's true or not. You know what? The heck with this. Let me use this tacky glue. I know it's going to come out in this lifetime. I can clamp it. Jed and Ellie may clamp it. Oh God, maybe I'm running a fever. Who knows? Okay, so we're going to leave that as it is. I wonder if I might have to do something in the middle, like a line of stitching, and have two little mini. Because if that is going to be too loosey-goosey, then that's not going to be fun. Okay, so that's roughly 1/2 inch. So if I do roughly 1/2 inch on this side, I mean, there will be a space, but it will still, let me look. Oh, it needs to go over a bit. And let's hope, yes, that'll cover it good. So these aren't going to be as close as I thought they were. And instead of, okay, you were probably yelling that from home. instead of putting the glue on the whatchamacallit, I should have put it on the ribbon. Then I could put it wherever I wanted to. Now we don't want to turn this into a bow either by pulling it too tight. Okay, so I need another clamp. Okay, so maybe I will set this aside momentarily, let that grab at least a little bit, and then we'll come back to it and add this. Or, yeah, I might have to, you know what I could do? Doesn't that look great? I mean, minus the clamps, of course. I think what I could do is maybe just do a little bit of slow stitching. You know, maybe do a couple of French knots or something on each one. And it would serve the purpose that I want it to, which is not make this such a gigantically long thing, unsupported thing. Okay, typically, I've told you that when I start sewing around something, I start in the lower right-hand corner. So that makes me think that this should be the lower right-hand corner, which means that this should be the top. So we're going to, oh, now I need to rethink that idea. Remember, I was just going to have it extend about 1/2 inch beyond. So I'm going to, because this is tapered and I want to cover both edges of that ribbon. Let's use this. I'm going to get it as low as I can, well, or as low as I need to cover both edges of the ribbon. That'll help secure that. It'll also help, you know, that gives it another, oh, wouldn't it have been good to cut this off before? And I think I will just fold a bit of this back so we still end up with the tab effect. Can't get rid of this stuff. We still have a wee bit of a tab there. Oh, look at that. It cracked. Darn it. Oh, don't you hate when a project goes sideways? Okay, we're going to let that dry. This, oh, you know what? I do have this too, and I've shown you probably a dozen times that this is the way these very short stick pins are mounted, stored, whatever, presented on a roll. So as I take the pins off, I save this paper because it's so interesting. Okay, so what I'll do here is the same sort of thing. This one won't get as far along because it hasn't been stitched around yet. I think I'm just going to let it be a decorative piece. Let's get this roughly the length we need it. And of course, there's always more. Just use no. Let's use tacky glue since it's going to be, and you know, you who might have worked, but since it's going to be paper to fabric, maybe we need something with a little more reliability. This is such a kind of a sloppy thing the way it comes out. I don't even know, can you see anything comes out of here? This is why when I use this stuff, I typically use my little silicone spreader, which just happens to be here. So number one, it makes your glue go further, and it sort of smooths out any potential lumps. Then of course you end up dropping it on the project. Now there will be a lot of, whoa, that's not quite centered, is it? And if you're finding that it's hard for you to eyeball centers anymore, or anything for that matter, number one, probably use a ruler. And number two, or deliberately offset it so no one can think, well, she obviously tried to center that and couldn't. So I will cut this excess off, and then once this is dry, because I don't want to sew through wet glue, I will, next time I'm at the sewing machine, I will stitch around them. I think that looks kind of cool too. And of course, it does, oh, you know what? I was going to see if this has been kicking around here forever too. I was thinking maybe I can still use it. Not a perfect match. No, not even a very close match. But, hey, that's okay. Mind you, it's also long enough that I could use it as a little journal tie too. So maybe that would be kind of indecisive today. Yeah, I think I don't like that it's not closer, so now I have a loose thing like this to worry about. Okay, we're going to set that aside. How are we doing for time? Oh, 42 minutes. Let's do one only of these. This, I said I probably don't have enough pink stuff around. And then we'll take a look at those things that are drying. Now maybe something, okay, let's me figure out. Oh, this was the one that was going to be that way. So maybe, don't have enough to go right across. I don't know why, and then this one must have been, you know, the way things are sometimes folded. This has more staining on it or whatever than this side. This looks white, this looks, and I mean, I obviously put it, oh, I also had to put a backing, like a clear, not a clear, but a solid cardstock to cover the printing. So maybe I could finally use this up. Let's just figure out which is the right side here. I guess if I can't tell, then neither can you or the journal recipient. So I could do the same thing because it, you know, it'll look goofy. It covers a part of her hat. So why don't I just do a little bit of that same gathering in this kind of empty corner here. And then this one probably would lend itself, you know, to a button or a little paper flower or something. Maybe we'll try this time. And I'll definitely have to put a clamp on this because this does take longer to And because it's going to be at the top of a page, I can afford to have, well, I guess it doesn't matter if it's top or bottom. I can afford to have, too bad that's creased. I can afford to have that sort of sticking beyond. That didn't pleat as nicely as I thought it would. Maybe there's more grab to that tacky glue than I imagined. Okay, if this really bugs me, I might have to take a little, put the point of an iron to that and just, you know, get that to lay a little bit better. Okay, so I'm doing, yeah, and depending what I put here, if I put a larger flower, that may flatten that out as well. So I think that'll be fine. It needs something more, but you can understand that. Okay, can we do anything with these? Now I do, off to the side here, I do have this, which is some kind of an open weave something or other. I think this was like, I don't know if it was ribbon or something. It could possibly work, although it looks a bit new compared to this vintage thing here. There's an empty spot here, more so than, well, it's such a bright blue though. Oh, look, I had this bit of, whoops. I had this bit of coppery colored stuff that could have gone. Maybe that can be a tab on here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But because that's so sheer, I'm just going to paper clip it on there so that when I go to sew around this one, I'll know that. And it's so lightweight, the sewing will hold it in place. Okay, back to this blue thing. I also have a scrap of this, which could work. That could be a bow. What else? Oh, and I also have this, which was, this must have been like a bias type thing. Don't remember where I salvaged it from, but it's got, you can see, well, hopefully you can see it's cut on the bias. And it's got these little fold down, see, you know, how do people do this? Well, I suppose there are machines to do it, but okay, maybe let's use that on this. So I'm going to open this up. See, again, this is where a little iron would have been a good thing. I'm going to sort of stretch and distort this a bit. You can see how it almost is holding the, and I guess I shouldn't worry about the little parts that are turned down. And I feel like maybe I want to make a bow out of this. I have quite a bit here, but if I cut it in half, well, let's make a bow and see how much I can, rather than restricting myself to open this up. Someday I should do a little bow making tutorial, because I think, and I'm not talking about a shoelace bow, because unless you've been wearing Velcro shoes since you were 5, you probably know how to tie a shoelace bow. But sometimes a multi-loop bow is the answer, and that is a little harder for people to do. Now, if I could do that at the top and then just shape this. Yeah, maybe that's what I should do. Okay, so I'm going to decide on my loops and then pull it tight. And then I will work at this a bit to, you know, make it stay a little more open and interesting. This I will probably cut like, although it's kind of nice that it's frayed. Maybe we'll leave, we'll let the jury be out on that for the time being. So maybe I glue that at the top and then just sort of do a bit of a loopy loop thing there. Yeah, I could offset it. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Offset the knot of the bow to about there. So it sort of covers the peak of this, or the point of this card. Now again, if these guys don't want to stay put, then I can always add, we have a pink one. Let's use a pink one. Not that it matters at this stage of the game. Okay, I'm going to leave that there till till it grabs. And then of course, if I need to glue this down or one of these, you know, loops, then I can. I can also get a little more dimension here by twisting the ribbon. Twisting and gathering. And of course, you know, back in the day when we had our shop, the glue gun pretty well would have been plugged in from first thing in the morning. Oh, maybe I should use this till, you know, almost the end of day closing. Another thing that we used to do back in the day, well, I used to do because I did most of the design work, was, you know, those 10-inch electric skillets that every kitchen used to have? Well, we'd have one of those, and you could buy glue pellets, and so maybe there'd be about 1/2 inch of melted glue in there. Turn the thermostat, turn the little control thingamajig, because those had temperature settings. You know, turn it off, obviously, at the end of the day or at the end of the project. But otherwise, you know, you could have this hot pan of glue for those bigger projects where you wanted, I think I'm just going to put a couple of little swirl of glue here and not struggle with this. And you could have that that pan of glue ready. Usually had like a bamboo stick or a skewer or something in there, or even a piece of plastic flower stem from Silk Flowers in there, and then you could sort of pick up as big a glob of glue as you needed for particularly challenging gluing tasks. And if you watch Tina at Shabby Dabby Doodah, you know that she loves bows and ribbons and ruffling stuff up. And she always uses her glue guns. So I suppose if I would have known what I was going to do, I could have plugged in my glue gun. Okay, you're going to have to use your imagination for that because the clamp needs to stay there a while longer. Or does it? Hi. If I glue this down, it'll grab faster than the tacky glue. And then you'll get a better feel for how this will look. Because we can't always come back and show every little thing. But it will show the shaping that I've done. Now, one thing, I didn't do anything about this. Maybe I would just, my goodness, back and forth with this glue. That's the, whoops, that's the last time I'm using that in this video. Okay, so I've just essentially bunched that up. I've sort of used a bit of glue to secure these loops. And again, this, you can see how very lightweight this all is. So it's not going to take, even though it might look like it, it doesn't take a great deal of glue to, oh, look, I could fray that if I wanted to. It doesn't take a great deal of glue to really hold something that lightweight down. Okay, enough is enough. Okay, so let's, I don't know what I'll be, maybe I'll still use that somehow. And of course, the unused pieces will be going back into the bowl. Although I've decided that I will be putting, or maybe I should leave these things out and just work till they're all gone. I'll be putting this in a Ziploc bag, otherwise it seems to tangle around everything. So there's all of that back in the bowl, which still looks pretty full and like, did she use any of that at all? Oh, I also said I was going to do something with this. I probably lied about not using that art glitter glue, or I mean that Fabri-Tac again. Come on. Little guy got away on me. I have so much ribbon. I don't know, is that a little contrived? Or is that very beautiful? I don't know. Jury's out on that one. Okay, let's show you what we have. Or do I use it on this one? Let's trim this up. Oops, I thought these were good fabric scissors. I've misplaced my little pink and gray ones, and it annoys me to no end. That could work there, I suppose, depending. I'm going to probably paper clip that together just so I kind of remember the thought process and see if I can find, you know, the right button or something. Okay, so we have two of those. We have two of those. We have this guy. We have a bunch that still need help. And we have this. And we have this. Have to be careful here not to cut. Get as close as you can without cutting that zigzag. These scissors aren't as good as the pink and gray ones. Just saying. Okay, let's pretend that we were sticking something under there. Yeah, I still think I need to do something at some point. You know, maybe not dead center like I was talking about, but, you know, maybe there and there. I don't know. I have to think about that. Okay, so this is sort of the output for today. And considering that I really didn't have too much of this pre-planned, I think it went reasonably well. And of course I have this to hold on to for another day. Feels like there's some stitching to, there is some stitching to remove there. Okay, yeah, so I think that that was fairly productive. Also have this little bit that's kicking around. Anyway, there's no end to this, as you well know. So thank you so much for joining me. I will see you in the next one. There is at least one more idea that I want to put together. Another video that I want to put together for the using up fabric. So I hope that this has encouraged you to look at your fabric scraps or things like hankies in new ways, because there are a lot of possibilities. So thank you, and if you like this, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and write a comment, because it's all appreciated. Thanks, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.